behind the camera where charm and poise captured millions of hearts, Ed Sullivan nurtured a world of private rivalries and dramatic tensions, starkly contrasting his public image. One such feud illuminated the screen during live broadcasts, a strained, visible air lingering in his interactions with a particular singer he simply couldn't stand. His disdain was subtle, yet impossible to ignore. Averted eyes here, terse exchanges there, a deliberate absence of warmth in his introductions. For a man labeled as a career maker, his icy demeanor toward this individual exposed a chink in his armor of polished professionalism. More intriguing were accounts of deliberate scheduling, where Sullivan allegedly positioned less favorable acts at strategically inconvenient times to undermine their performances. Moments meant to showcase talent instead became opportunities for quiet acts of sabotage, and those few lucky enough to be in the know whispered of such curious decisions behind closed doors. It was not just this singer either. Sullivan carried numerous grudges, and those grudges lingered, shaping interactions with even the most celebrated stars. His smile could be deceptively charming, masking personal struggles and strong opinions he often dared not voice. Sometimes, however, his disapproval bubbled to the surface, barely concealed under the sheen of showbiz civility. A supposed master of neutral composure, he could not always hide his true feelings when the cameras rolled. While the public marveled at his ability to curate unforgettable acts, insiders were well aware of the enigmatic complexities that marked his personality. Even with all his accolades, success, and influence, Sullivan's relationships with many figures in the entertainment world were layered with subtle hostilities and power plays. His ability to wield authority over who appeared, or didn't, on the stage made him both revered and feared. Those who crossed him, or merely struck the wrong nerve, found themselves shunted to lesser slots or subjected to indifferent platitudes that underscored a deliberate removal of the spotlight they so ardently sought. Though his smile reached millions, many of his professional relationships were defined by cold alliances and simmering disputes. Sometimes those grudges extended far beyond the walls of the studio. Stories circulated about how Sullivan's private opinions about a performer could unjustly influence their success, even outside his sphere of direct control. Producers, agents, and network executives often took note of his cryptic remarks or otherwise veiled judgments, weighing them alongside their individual opinions when making decisions. For all his warmth and ability to unite a nation around his program, his silent vendettas became yet another stage upon which Ed Sullivan performed. Soon after Edward Vincent Sullivan entered the world on September 28, 1901, in Harlem, New York City, it became evident that his life would carry moments of both joy and loss. Born into a large and close-knit Irish family, he came into the world alongside a twin brother, Daniel. Tragically, their partnership as twins was heartbreakingly brief, as Daniel passed away in infancy. Harlem at the time was a vibrant mix of cultures, with strong Irish and Jewish presences shaping the community. His early years would expose him to the richness of this environment, even as personal grief continued to shadow his family. Edward, full of curiosity and boundless energy, exhibited a natural inclination toward physical activities, particularly sports. Yet his youthful pursuits and the vivacious spirit of Harlem could not shield him from the tragedies that marked his family life. The loss of his twin brother was soon compounded by another devastating event, the death of his sister Elizabeth. This sequence of losses deeply affected the Sullivans, leading his father, Peter, and mother, Elizabeth, to make a momentous decision to move from Harlem to a more tranquil life in Portchester, New York. In Portchester, the young Sullivan found both a new home and a renewed sense of stability amidst a quieter setting. A sturdy brick house on Washington Street became the foundation from which Edward would grow and evolve. As he adjusted to this new chapter, he embraced the tight-knit community of Portchester with open arms, continuing his enthusiasm for sports and deepening his connections at schools like St. Mary's and Portchester High. The memories of Harlem, however, with its bustling streets and cultural intersections, likely left an indelible mark on his view of the world and his understanding of human connection. During high school, Ed Sullivan revealed an exceptional aptitude for both sports and writing. At Portchester High School, he displayed his athletic prowess by excelling in multiple sports and earning an impressive 12 varsity letters. As a sprinter on the track, a halfback in football, and a guard in basketball, Sullivan was a dynamic figure, appreciated for his determination and skill. Alongside his athletic commitments, he contributed writings to the school newspaper, showcasing an early passion for journalism. This dual talent for physical and intellectual pursuits hinted at the versatile career he would go on to pursue. After graduating from high school, Sullivan launched his journalism career, reflecting his deepening commitment to the written word. He secured a job at the Port Chester Daily Item, the very publication where he had started contributing as a high schooler. This marked the beginning of a series of roles in reporting, as he moved between outlets, sharpening his skills and gaining exposure to broader audiences. By 1919, he attempted a brief stint at the Hartford Post, though it was cut short when the paper folded within the first week of his employment. Still, Sullivan remained undeterred, continuing his journey as a sports writer for the New York Evening Mail. This role in New York brought him closer to the vibrant life of one of the world's major cities. Although the Evening Mail eventually ceased operations in 1923, it was yet another stepping stone in Sullivan's career, adding to his growing experience and reputation. By the 1920s, Sullivan had firmly established himself in the world of sports journalism, and his ability to capture the thrill of competition through his writing gained recognition. His work with notable outlets like the Associated Press and the Morning Telegraph expanded his profile and honed his storytelling abilities. However, his career underwent a significant change during the 1930s when he transitioned from covering sports exclusively to a broader focus on entertainment. This shift was marked by his contributions to a Broadway feature, which opened the door to a more prominent role at the New York Daily News. His column at this major publication not only increased his visibility, but allowed him to explore diverse topics and connect with a wider audience. With this move, Sullivan began forging a path that would eventually lead to his later career in the entertainment industry, as the seeds of his eventual success in radio and television began to take root. In the late 1920s, Ed Sullivan extended his career into the emerging world of radio, focusing on Broadway-themed programs. His deep interest in the theater enabled him to connect with many rising stars of the time, including iconic entertainers like Jimmy Durante, Irving Berlin, and Jack Benny. His shows became a vital platform for showcasing talent, introducing many performers who would become household names. Through his programming, Sullivan cultivated a blend of entertainment and a sense of inclusion, fostering a space where both seasoned and emerging artists could thrive. This connection to the Broadway scene helped cement his reputation as a significant figure in the entertainment industry. As his career progressed, Sullivan took the role of master of ceremonies to new heights through various live events. One such milestone was his role as host of the Harvest Moon Ball, an annual dance competition held in New York City. In September 1947, this event marked a pivotal turn in Sullivan's career. Unknown to him at the time, the Harvest Moon Ball was being televised, a novel concept during that era when television was an emerging technology. His performance on the televised event caught the attention of CBS executives, who realized Sullivan's engaging style and charismatic presence were assets for a medium rapidly entering American households. It was a groundbreaking moment that allowed Sullivan to transition effortlessly into the realm of television, then a relatively untapped platform for live entertainment. This transition led directly to what would become the crowning achievement of Sullivan's career, his role as the host of CBS's new variety show, Toast of the Town, which premiered on June 20, 1948. The show was later renamed The Ed Sullivan Show, and rapidly became a cultural beacon, bringing together a wide array of performers spanning music, comedy, theater, and more. Sullivan's ability to connect with different audiences and his flair for discovering talent turned the program into a spectacle that defined American television for decades, setting the stage for numerous groundbreaking performances. Ed Sullivan's variety show began its journey as Toast of the Town in 1948, initially grappling with challenges including limited sponsor support and fluctuating ratings. The show faced serious obstacles to survival. However, Ed Sullivan's unwavering persistence and strategic vision paved the way for resounding success and cultural influence. Preceding the rebranding of the program as The Ed Sullivan Show in the mid-1950s, Sullivan made deliberate efforts to refine the show's appeal, focusing on leveraging high-profile talent to captivate a nationwide audience. Representing a masterclass in talent scouting, Sullivan's lineup included groundbreaking performances that went on to define eras. He recognized the potential of performers long before they became household names, presenting acts like Elvis Presley and the Beatles, among countless others. For instance, the Beatles' first appearance on the show in February 1964 drew an extraordinary audience of 73 million people, becoming a landmark in American television history. Such iconic moments continually elevated the program's ratings and positioned it as a cultural mainstay during its prime. Every Sunday night over 23 years, Sullivan's platform introduced diverse acts, blending music, comedy, dance, and novelty routines into a signature mix. His direct but unassuming hosting style earned trust from viewers and collaborators alike. Battles with network executives and sponsors often tested the longevity of the program, especially during moments of societal tension. Sullivan championed inclusivity by featuring a spectrum of artists, even in defiance of contemporary censorship and racial divisions. Artists from varying genres, whether rock and roll or classical opera, found a groundbreaking spotlight on his stage. These acts resonated with American households, creating shared experiences while paving the way for subsequent variety programming. Enduring extraordinary popularity through several decades, the show's significance extended beyond entertainment. It mirrored shifts in the nation's cultural and social landscape. As a Sunday night mainstay on CBS, The Ed Sullivan Show became synonymous with family gatherings and a unified television experience bound by the universal allure of spectacle and artistry. Sullivan's unparalleled ability to steer through the dynamic challenges of early television solidified his legacy as an impresario. Although NBC's Colgate Comedy Hour posed a formidable challenge with its massive budget and star-studded lineup, Ed Sullivan's ability to adapt, innovate, and strategically maneuver ensured his show's enduring success. When faced with the glitzy appeal of NBC's rival program, Sullivan leaned into his knack for curating unforgettable television moments. He booked the brightest stars of the era, ensuring his celebrity guests made headlines and generated buzz. Not content with merely surviving, he set his sights on defining the television landscape. Sullivan's innovation wasn't limited to which stars appeared. It extended to how moments were crafted for maximum cultural impact, solidifying his show as a must-watch segment of Sunday evenings. Driven by competition, CBS recognized the need for financial prowess to maintain the integrity and allure of Sullivan's production. Over the years, the show's budget saw a significant increase, enabling larger performances and more frequent inclusions of marquee names. Sullivan's innate ability to balance sentimentality and public spectacle meant his tributes to icons or thoughtful thematic showcases were as much a highlight as his celebrity appearances. These moments tapped into collective emotions, offering viewers more than just entertainment. They received cultural milestones that echoed throughout decades of television history. His adaptability wasn't merely reactive to NBC's high-budget programming. It was proactive, setting a pace others struggled to match or sustain. Through perseverance and resourcefulness, Sullivan consistently outmaneuvered the frills and flamboyance of his competition. This ability to adapt translated into long-term domination in an era when television itself was still evolving. He not only retained his audience but grew it, even as competing producers sought to woo top talent and viewers with hefty investments and dazzling productions. Each carefully orchestrated performance or tribute gave his audience something irreplaceable, a connection to the talent that television could amplify like never before. The Ed Sullivan Show was a phenomenon that firmly cemented its place in cultural history as one of the most influential platforms for entertainment in America. Known for its mosaic of talents that ranged far and wide, the program introduced the public to a plethora of performers, spanning comedy, theater, and popular music. Its variety format made it a favorite for American families, as each Sunday evening brought new surprises to living rooms across the country. An opportunity to perform on Sullivan's stage was seen as a hallmark of success, and opened doors for artists to achieve widespread fame. The careers of many entertainers owe a great deal to their appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show. It was a stage where young talents could cement themselves as household names. Among these was Dean Martin, whose likable charm and effortless style captivated millions. Paired often with Jerry Lewis, the two created moments of hilarity that made them two of America's most beloved comedians. Their chemistry and appeal resonated exceptionally on Sullivan's stage, which became a key stepping stone in their future undertakings. Similarly, Dick Van Dyke showcased his multifaceted talents as both a comedic and theatrical performer. His infectious charisma and timing made him a popular figure who would go on to achieve iconic status well beyond his time on the show. Another memorable aspect of Sullivan's cultural legacy was his role in amplifying the sound of an evolving music scene, giving rise to new icons whose influence persisted for decades. The Rolling Stones serve as a prime example of how Sullivan could impact careers in the music industry. Though initially scoffed at in some corners, their 1964 debut on the iconic stage set the tone for a shift in rock and roll. The Rolling Stones brought a grittier, more raw sound to Sullivan's platform, breaking from the polished performances of earlier rock acts like Elvis Presley. Their edgy presentation and exuberant energy were greeted by roaring fans, a testament to a generation's readiness for a bolder and more alternative musical front. As a cultural touchstone, the show not only mirrored the sentiments of an era, but also actively shaped the tastes and preferences of the audience. Sullivan's knack for identifying talent, combined with his ability to introduce acts that would eventually become legendary, was unmatched. Beyond presenting acts like the Beatles and the Supremes, his platform also became a springboard for countless others, including emerging stage and music talents who were navigating the dazzling, yet demanding entertainment industry. His diverse lineup ensured all parts of American society found something to relate to or be inspired by. Audiences who tuned into the Ed Sullivan Show encountered some of television history's defining moments. Elvis Presley's moments on stage, particularly his 1956 performance, became one of the most talked about acts. While his swiveling hips sparked controversy, Ed Sullivan famously directed the cameras to shoot him from the waist up during subsequent performances. Presley's appearances drew millions of viewers, cementing his influence on American pop culture. Then there was the Beatles' debut in 1964, moments after Sullivan introduced them with his trademark, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles." This performance ignited the British invasion and marked the beginning of Beatlemania in America, captivating over 70 million live viewers and signaling a seismic shift in music and youth culture. Beyond such iconic acts, Ed Sullivan demonstrated a groundbreaking dedication to diversity at a time when racial barriers dominated American entertainment. Establishing himself as a cultural curator of sorts, he gave the stage to numerous African American artists in an era when many were excluded from mainstream platforms. The soulful presence of Nat King Cole brought sophisticated jazz and charm that enthralled Sullivan's audience. Embracing Harry Belafonte's Caribbean folk music allowed millions to discover calypso rhythms that resonated deeply. Sammy Davis Jr., singular in his ability to dazzle as a singer and dancer, often appeared on Sullivan's stage, solidifying his standing in American show business with charm, style, and talent unmatched. The host's commitment to racial inclusivity extended into defining the Motown sound on television. Ed Sullivan introduced acts such as the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, and the Temptations, connecting their songs to a nationwide audience eager for something innovative and soulful. Through these moments, Ed Sullivan's role became more than merely that of a variety show host. He emerged as a conduit for bridging cultural divides, racially, musically, and generationally. Sullivan recognized artistry without prejudice, offering black entertainers an unrivaled spotlight. Such contributions weren't merely significant for the artists themselves, but for the millions of viewers who discovered the breadth of American talent and culture through his show. Ed Sullivan shared a profound and enduring friendship with famed tap dancer Bill Bojangles Robinson. Their connection went beyond the stage, revealing Sullivan's deep admiration for Robinson's artistry and character. At a time when societal barriers and racial prejudice were widespread, Sullivan stood as a figure of support and advocacy for black entertainers. His relationship with Robinson embodied this commitment. When Robinson passed away and left behind financial hardships, it was Sullivan who arranged the dancer's funeral, ensuring a dignified farewell that reflected the magnitude of the performer's contributions to entertainment and culture. Robinson's casket lay in state at the 369th Infantry Regiment Armory in Harlem, where thousands of admirers came to pay their respects. This act of honoring Robinson underscored Sullivan's dedication to uplifting those whose voices and talents often face societal marginalization. The relationship between Sullivan and Robinson extended a legacy of introducing black artists to mainstream audiences long after Robinson's passing. On The Ed Sullivan Show, Sullivan showcased numerous black performers, providing a platform that amplified their talent during a critical era of civil rights progression. Among the artists who graced his stage were Harry Belafonte, Diana Ross, and countless others who later transformed the cultural landscape. Suzanne Kay, daughter of actress and singer Diahann Carroll, explored this legacy through an in-depth documentary. The project delved into the Ed Sullivan Show's pivotal role in breaking racial barriers for entertainers. By featuring interviews with luminaries like Belafonte and Ross, the documentary painted a vivid picture of Sullivan's influence. Sullivan's pioneering efforts reached beyond merely providing a stage for performance. They challenged norms and redefined the entertainment industry's role in reflecting society's diversity. His dedication, whether manifested through his friendship with Robinson or his broader advocacy for black artists, demonstrated a commitment to justice, opportunity, and the celebration of talent across racial lines. Sullivan's actions not only honored individual lives and careers, but also contributed to a greater cultural shift that reshaped the public's appreciation for diverse artistry during a transformative period in American history. Over his storied career as the host of one of television's most influential variety shows, Ed Sullivan broke new ground by introducing audiences to a wide array of performers, many of whom shattered cultural and musical conventions of the time. His stage became an unlikely platform for bridging cultural and geopolitical divides, as evidenced by his choice to feature Soviet performers during a period overshadowed by Cold War tensions. By inviting Soviet dancers and artists, Sullivan offered American audiences a rare glimpse into the artistry and tradition of a sworn adversary, subtly challenging preconceived notions and promoting cultural understanding without overt political commentary. Equally groundbreaking was his embrace of countercultural icons of the 1960s, a decision that not only reflected the shifting tides of American society, but also amplified voices that often ran counter to mainstream sensibilities. Sullivan's ability to recognize the transformative power of music brought acts like Sly and the Family Stone to his stage. Their fusion of funk, rock, and soul, coupled with their groundbreaking multiracial lineup, signaled the advent of a new era in American music and social awareness. Similarly, Janis Joplin's unforgettable appearance on the show showcased her raw, emotional artistry, capturing the soul of a generation grappling with change and upheaval. With her powerful renditions of songs like Raise Your Hand and Maybe, she left an indelible mark on both the show and its viewers, reinforcing Sullivan's instinct for spotlighting authentic and revolutionary talent. The Doors were another act that created waves during their unexpected and controversial performance on The Ed Sullivan Show. Invited to play their hit, Light My Fire, the band defied the network's request to edit suggestive lyrics, an act of defiance that forever placed them at odds with the show's producers. Nevertheless, their gritty, unapologetic stage presence and the controversy surrounding their appearance solidified their place in rock history and further demonstrated Sullivan's role as an unwitting accomplice in challenging societal norms. Through music, Ed Sullivan's contributions extended far beyond his groundbreaking television career. His presence in the movie musical Bye Bye Birdie showcased his connection to pop culture and his ability to leverage his renowned image for storytelling on screen. The film ingeniously referenced Sullivan's iconic status by integrating him into its storyline, a testament to his role as a cultural tastemaker during the era. His appearance lent authenticity to the movie while introducing Broadway to broader audiences. Similarly, his participation in The Singing Nun reflected Sullivan's keen understanding of connecting diverse forms of entertainment with viewers, blending unique cultural expressions with mainstream appeal. These ventures highlighted Sullivan's adaptability and his commitment to celebrating artistic achievements. In a different but equally impactful sphere, Sullivan took a tremendous stride for social progress when he featured Broadway director Joshua Logan to discuss mental health on an episode aired in 1953. At the time, addressing such topics publicly was uncommon, and the stigma surrounding mental health was significant. By presenting Logan's candid conversation about his struggles with mental illness, Sullivan redefined the possibilities of primetime television's influence. This groundbreaking choice not only humanized the topic, but also encouraged viewers to think critically about mental health and the challenges individuals face. This marked one of the first instances where television was used as a tool to normalize discussions around mental health, removing some of the lingering societal shame attached to it. Sullivan's involvement went beyond entertainment, as he understood the broader responsibility of his platform. He bridged gaps between celebrity culture, societal issues, and human interest by curating content that resonated on multiple levels. Whether integrating his image into feature films or utilizing his show to address critical issues, Sullivan cemented his legacy as an innovator who was unafraid to tackle challenges across various domains. Sullivan's awkward and genuine demeanor made him relatable and likable to audiences, even as he faced criticism from some guests. His hosting style, while endearing to many, sometimes drew ire, particularly from those who expected a more polished performance. This short temper when confronted with criticism revealed a sensitive side to his personality. A notable incident involved Harriet Van Horn, a critic who openly questioned Sullivan's lack of personality on air. Her remarks struck a nerve, prompting Sullivan to respond in writing with a blunt and heartfelt message. This exchange highlighted his vulnerability and sensitivity to the opinions of others, especially those in the media. Despite the criticisms, Sullivan's authenticity shone through, allowing him to connect with viewers on a personal level. His ability to embrace his awkwardness ultimately contributed to his charm, making him a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. The incident with Van Horn serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by public figures when navigating the fine line between criticism and personal identity. The relationship between Ed Sullivan and his guests often reflected a blend of mentorship, tension, and the occasional rift that revealed the complexities of working with an influential personality like Sullivan. Alan King was one such individual who frequently graced the Ed Sullivan Show. Known for his witty and sharp humor, King found considerable success through Sullivan's platform, acknowledging that his appearances helped catapult his career to new heights. However, their relationship wasn't without its storms. King and Sullivan had a volatile dynamic that came to a boiling point in an incident that almost turned physical. King believed Sullivan had betrayed him in some manner, leading to heated confrontations. Despite their fallout, King later admitted to the significant role Sullivan played in shaping his career. This acknowledgement underscored the complicated nature of their relationship, mixing gratitude with lingering grievances. The Jackie Mason incident highlighted Sullivan's rigid expectations and zero-tolerance approach to anything he deemed improper. During a live October 1964 broadcast of The Ed Sullivan Show, Sullivan was signaling Mason to wrap up his stand-up routine with hand gestures, as time was running out due to a presidential speech. Mason, known for his humorous and improvisational reactions, began mimicking Sullivan's gestures. What followed became one of the most infamous moments in the history of the show. Sullivan accused Mason of making an obscene gesture, specifically giving the middle finger, while on air. Mason vehemently denied the charge, maintaining that his expressions were entirely innocent and meant to entertain. The ramifications were severe. Sullivan terminated Mason's $45,000 contract for upcoming appearances and promptly banned him from the show. The fallout derailed Mason's career for years, as Sullivan's influence in the television world was significant enough to affect Mason's future prospects. Mason not only faced professional setbacks but also took legal action against Sullivan, claiming damages for the accusation and the disruption it caused in his career. Sullivan, steadfast in his judgment, refused to relent for some time, insisting that Mason had violated the decorum of the broadcast. However, over 2 years later, the tension subsided. In a surprising turn of events, Sullivan invited Mason back on the show, publicly apologizing for the misunderstanding. Mason's return marked a form of reconciliation between the two, restoring some professional goodwill. Despite this, the incident remained etched in the history of live American television as a defining example of how small misinterpretations could evolve into industry-shaking controversies. Both careers, while revived in their ways, bore the imprints of this episode, illuminating the strenuous dynamics between creative minds in high-pressure environments. Because additional information wasn't fully retrieved, I can now generate a response that's as detailed as possible based on the available data. Let me assemble the text now. In May 1963, Bob Dylan was scheduled to perform on The Ed Sullivan Show, an opportunity that could have significantly boosted his exposure to a national audience. At that time, Dylan was already gaining momentum within the folk music scene, and his upcoming album, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, was poised to solidify his reputation as a sharp and thought-provoking artist. During rehearsals for the show, Dylan planned to perform his satirical song Talkin' John Birch Paranoid Blues, a biting critique that humorously targeted anti-communist paranoia associated with the John Birch Society. The song had been approved during rehearsals, and even Ed Sullivan himself did not raise objections. However, mere hours before the broadcast, CBS executives intervened, insisting Dylan replace the controversial tune. Concerned about the song's provocative lyrics, which lampooned sensitive political themes of the time, network censors feared potential backlash. Rather than conforming to the demand, Dylan shockingly decided to walk off the set, declining to perform entirely. This act of defiance became a profound moment in his career, and a noteworthy strike against artistic censorship. Dylan later expressed regret about the decision, recognizing the lost opportunity for exposure on one of America's most watched variety shows. Nevertheless, this incident reinforced his reputation as an artist who prioritized his principles and creative integrity over commercial gain or widespread acceptance. Dylan would never return to the Ed Sullivan Show, which had launched the American careers of numerous iconic performers before and after him. Years earlier, in 1958, Buddy Holly experienced his own tumultuous encounter with Ed Sullivan during a planned performance. By this time, Holly had already established himself as a rising star, with a string of hits alongside the Crickets. Scheduled to perform their popular hit, "Oh Boy," on Sullivan's stage, the group faced an unexpected directive from Sullivan himself. Believing the energetic and youthful song was too raucous for his family-oriented audience, Sullivan insisted on a change. Holly, remaining firm and defiant, refused to comply, proceeding to perform "Oh Boy" as intended. Tension between the two escalated, particularly during sound checks when Sullivan was accused of deliberate technical sabotage. Buddy's microphone volume was allegedly turned down, impacting the live show's quality. Despite these challenges, Holly and the Crickets delivered an electric performance that thrilled the audience. Adding to the strain, Sullivan mispronounced Buddy Holly's name during the introduction, an apparent slight that highlighted the host's irritation. Unlike Dylan, Holly's confrontation with Sullivan did not permanently exclude him from the show. The group was invited back for subsequent performances, demonstrating Sullivan's ability to set aside personal grievances for the sake of showcasing talent. However, Holly's interactions with the host remained a memorable chapter in his short but impactful career. These two incidents, Dylan's walkout over censorship and Holly's defiance of musical constraints, highlight the intersection of artistic vision and external control within the entertainment industry. Both artists responded to challenges in ways that reflected their unique personalities and values, leaving behind stories that remain emblematic of their respective approaches to fame, creativity, and compromise. Ed Sullivan's show became a landscape of unforgettable live television moments, some of which carried controversies, including his encounters with Bo Diddley and Jim Morrison. Bo Diddley made his television debut on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1955. He was instructed to perform a particular song, 16 Tons, which the producers believed would align better with the program's family-oriented tone. Instead, Diddley performed his self-titled song Bo Diddley, a raw and pioneering rock and roll number that didn't conform to Sullivan's strict expectations. This deviation enraged Sullivan, who perceived it as a blatant act of defiance, and Diddley was never invited back. This episode illustrated how Sullivan's insistence on control occasionally led to clashes when artists prioritized their artistic integrity over compliance. A comparable, and perhaps even more infamous incident unfolded with The Doors, whose enigmatic lead singer Jim Morrison challenged Sullivan's authority in a similarly distinct manner. In 1967, The Doors were invited to perform their groundbreaking hit Light My Fire on the program. Before stepping on stage, Morrison was instructed by the show's producers to alter a specific lyric in the song. The phrase "Girl, we couldn't get much higher" was deemed too suggestive, and possibly indicative of drug use. Initially, the band agreed to the requested change during rehearsals. However, in the climactic live performance, Morrison defiantly sang the original lyric, disregarding the prior agreement, and escalating Sullivan's frustrations to the point of permanently banning the Doors from future appearances. This unapologetic defiance captured Morrison's rebellious artistry and underlined the tension between creative freedom and rigid broadcasting norms. Both events portray Sullivan's steadfast determination to enforce his vision of appropriate entertainment on live television and his intolerance for deviations. While Sullivan's show undeniably offered a platform that launched many musical icons, these two incidents illuminated the friction that sometimes occurred when art and regulation collided, leaving their own lasting contributions to the lore of television history. Ed Sullivan's interaction with performers such as Mick Jagger and Sam Cooke reflects the intricate balance he maintained between upholding the standards of network television and embracing emerging cultural trends. For the Rolling Stones, controversy unfolded during a scheduled performance of Let's Spend the Night Together. Network executives deemed the original lyrics inappropriate for the family audience of the show. As a result, Mick Jagger and the band were asked to modify the lyrics to "Let's Spend Some Time Together." Though Jagger complied with the censorship request, his delivery of the altered line was characteristically rebellious. He accentuated the moment with exaggerated gestures and eye rolls, injecting his trademark style into the performance while adhering to the network's demands. This elaborate compromise showcased Jagger's ability to both conform and challenge constraints, which ensured the Rolling Stones could maintain their valuable exposure through multiple appearances on Sullivan's show. Meanwhile, Sam Cooke's experience highlighted Sullivan's responsiveness to public outcry. When Cooke's initial performance on the show was abruptly cut off due to time constraints, disappointed viewers inundated the studio with complaints. Aware of his miscalculation, Sullivan promptly booked Cooke for a return performance, granting the artist an opportunity to captivate the audience with a full set. This gesture underscored Sullivan's commitment to fostering positive relations with his audience and the performers who graced his stage. Cooke's second appearance proved unforgettable, solidifying his association with the show's legacy and affirming Sullivan's instinct for nurturing exceptional talent. Together, these episodes illustrate the dynamics of compromise, rebellion, responsiveness, and redemption that characterize Ed Sullivan's interactions with prominent figures of the entertainment industry. They underscore the show's role as a dynamic platform where cultural icons and mainstream expectations converged. Although both Ed Sullivan and Walter Winchell were well known in the entertainment and journalism worlds, their professional relationship was fraught with notable tension and competition. Sullivan, an influential television host, navigated the rivalry with Winchell, a highly popular columnist and broadcaster, during an era when media personalities had significant sway over the careers of entertainers and public figures. Despite Winchell's vast influence as a gossip columnist, he could not match Sullivan's formidable presence on television. Winchell attempted to challenge Sullivan by launching his own variety show, but his inability to attract the same caliber of star guests was a decisive drawback. Sullivan had an exceptional ability to draw notable performers, from musicians to comedians, and this power to attract a wide range of talents underscored his growing dominance in the entertainment industry. Sullivan's variety show became a cultural phenomenon, while Winchell's attempt at television success waned rapidly. This disparity in their achievements highlighted the strength of Sullivan's platform and his ability to hold the limelight through sheer appeal and strategic showcasing of top-tier talent. Although the rivalry originated from professional jealousy and direct competition, the dissolution of Winchell's show was a defining moment. Winchell, known for his sharp and bombastic personality, struggled to gain the same traction in television that he once enjoyed in print and radio. In contrast, Sullivan's ability to transition seamlessly into the new medium allowed him to become a central figure in American households. His show, later famously known as The Ed Sullivan Show, thrived due to his almost unparalleled capacity to capture the audience's interest through diverse and groundbreaking performances. However, what made Sullivan especially memorable was his genuine enthusiasm for his guests. Even when controversy surrounded him or some of the performers, Sullivan extended a fair and welcoming hand. This quality was far removed from the contentious and often harsh image associated with Winchell, who was known for aggressive tactics and personal feuds. Audiences were drawn to the warmth Sullivan projected, which stood in stark contrast to Winchell's combative nature. This authenticity in Sullivan's demeanor allowed him to build stronger connections, not only with viewers but with an eclectic assortment of performers from every corner of the entertainment world. Sullivan's enduring success and cultural relevance came not just from his presence on screen but from the values and behavior he exhibited. Despite the challenges posed by public controversies or artistic disagreements, his openness and admiration for talented individuals set him apart. Through this approach, Sullivan maintained his prestige and undeniably outshone Winchell, whose failure to adapt to the changing dynamics of media and entertainment represented a significant decline from his earlier prominence. By continuously presenting fresh and remarkable acts, Sullivan guaranteed a lasting legacy in entertainment. Ed Sullivan was a man whose life balanced public acclaim and personal devotion. Renowned for his immense contributions to television entertainment, his efforts were repeatedly recognized with prestigious awards and symbols of honor. Among them was the coveted Golden Globe Award, received for television achievement, which crowned his exemplary career. Similarly, a Peabody Award rooted his contributions in cultural significance, while the star honoring his name on the Hollywood Walk of Fame became a permanent reminder of his legacy. Together, these accolades marked him not only as an emblem of American entertainment, but as a figure whose influence reshaped its very foundations. Yet behind the glittering achievements was a life filled with love, loss, and resilience. In his younger years, Sullivan experienced profound heartache with the death of his fiancée, Olympic swimmer Sybil Bauer, who succumbed to cancer before they could marry. However, his path to happiness was rekindled in 1930 when he married Sylvia Weinstein, a union that showcased not just love, but cultural diversity, uniting his Catholic faith with her Jewish heritage. Their commitment endured, fulfilling their lives further with the birth of their daughter, Elizabeth, fondly known as Betty. Sullivan's private life contrasted against the dazzling surface of his public persona. A dedicated family man, he ensured that his role as husband and father paralleled his commitments to work. His marriage to Sylvia extended until her death in 1973, a testament to their unwavering bond. Moreover, their daughter Elizabeth, who later married the producer of her father's celebrated show, added another layer of continuity to Sullivan's enduring relevance in entertainment, and his unwavering familial ties. Sullivan's vibrant social life deeply reflected his personality and the era he lived in. At the heart of his leisure activities was his penchant for frequenting some of the most fashionable clubs and restaurants of his time. These establishments were more than just entertainment venues. They were meeting grounds for the rich and influential, places where ideas flowed as freely as the drinks. His frequent appearances in these hotspots established him not only as a television icon, but also as a recognizable figure in American high society. An ardent aficionado of horse racing, Sullivan often found solace in the thrill of the racetrack. His interest wasn't just about placing a bet. It was about immersing himself in a culture that combined strategy, luck, and elegance. This pastime connected him to a wider network of racing enthusiasts and underscored his appreciation for events that blended entertainment with a touch of sophistication. Sullivan's friendships extended far beyond the social elites of the entertainment world. Throughout his life, he cultivated relationships with some of the most influential figures of his time, including United States presidents and even popes. These connections were not only reflective of his wide social reach, but also indicative of his capacity to bridge worlds that might otherwise remain separate. Whether it was sharing a conversation with a president at the White House or engaging in a cultural exchange with religious leaders, these relationships underscored his stature as a unifying figure in American culture. His association with presidents showcased his ability to navigate the intertwining paths of media, politics, and society. In those gatherings, his role transcended that of a television host, as he became a participant in shaping and promoting American ideals and cultural diplomacy. At the same time, his rapport with figures from the Vatican reflected the deep respect he commanded across different domains and ideologies. The essence of Sullivan's hobbies and social engagements reflected a genuine enjoyment of life's finer things and a deep ability to connect with people across diverse walks of life. In embracing such activities, Sullivan exhibited a knack for merging his professional identity as an entertainment trailblazer with a personal one that enjoyed the richness of social and cultural experiences. In 1971, The Ed Sullivan Show, a cornerstone of American entertainment for over 2 decades, came to an abrupt end. Airing its last original broadcast on March 28, and with reruns shown until June 6, CBS decided to cancel the show, citing declining ratings during a time when audience preferences were shifting. Ed Sullivan had dreamed of reaching the show's 25th anniversary, a milestone he hoped would be celebrated with grandeur. The cancellation crushed Sullivan, a man deeply tied to the program's success. He had become synonymous with the cultural significance it brought to television. Stepping onto the stage of the Ed Sullivan Theater for the last time as host must have been bittersweet, marking not just the end of an era in television, but also part of Sullivan's own legacy. Even after the show was taken off the air, Sullivan did not withdraw entirely from the public eye. He worked on occasional television specials and became involved in other ventures, but there was an unmistakable void. Just 2 years later, in 1973, Sylvia Sullivan, his beloved wife of nearly 45 years, passed away. Her death hit Sullivan hard, affecting his emotional and physical well-being. His health, already strained by years of stress, a relentless work ethic, and habits like heavy smoking, began to rapidly decline after her death. In 1974, Sullivan was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, though initially he thought his worsening condition was related to recurring gastric ulcers, a problem he had battled for years. True to his resilient nature and private demeanor, Sullivan chose not to tell his friends, colleagues, or even some family members about his cancer diagnosis. Despite his own pain and an uphill health battle, he continued to make sporadic public appearances, finding solace and dedication to his legacy and the entertainment industry he loved so much. On October 13, 1974, Ed Sullivan passed away at Lenox Hill Hospital in New York at the age of 73. His death marked the conclusion of a life that had profoundly impacted the landscape of television and American pop culture. Over 3,000 people, including peers, admirers, and even former rivals, attended a funeral service held at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. It was a testament to the widespread respect and admiration he commanded. Those gathered commemorated a man whose work had shaped generations, brought countless stars into the limelight, and provided a cultural touchstone for millions across the nation. Ed Sullivan revolutionized the entertainment industry, leaving an enduring mark on television and culture. As the host of his eponymous variety show from 1948 to 1971, he brought over 10,000 acts to America's screens, fundamentally shaping popular culture. His program, an eclectic display of performers that ranged from musicians to comedians, showcased groundbreaking talent from every corner of the entertainment world. Sullivan offered these performers a once-in-a-lifetime stage to catapult themselves into stardom, introducing legendary acts such as Elvis Presley and the Beatles to millions of American households. A significant part of Sullivan's legacy rests on his commitment to social progress. At a time when segregation and racial discrimination permeated the United States, he broke barriers by inviting numerous black artists to his stage, a rarity for mainstream television. Megastars such as the Supremes, the Jackson 5, and Mahalia Jackson all graced his platform, offering African-American talent unprecedented visibility. Sullivan's decision to defy societal norms of exclusion championed diversity and helped broaden America's cultural acceptance by showing people the richness of artistry across racial lines. Beyond breaking racial barriers, Sullivan also brought crucial social issues to the fore. He addressed subjects such as mental health through public discussions and programming that challenged long-standing taboos. By offering his widely watched stage for these conversations, he provided the nation with opportunities to re-examine stigmas and foster empathy, resulting in cultural and societal shifts that extended beyond entertainment. This openness to tackling difficult issues across primetime television showed his belief in entertainment being not just a source of joy, but also a powerful educational tool. While The Ed Sullivan Show went off the air decades ago, its legacy persists in multiple forms. The Ed Sullivan Theater, the iconic venue where his shows were filmed, remains in active use and is one of New York City's important cultural landmarks, linking modern-day audiences to its historic past. Additionally, Sullivan's ability to challenge norms through the arts and his unwavering commitment to diversity remain influential in television production and entertainment programming. Sullivan's family reflects on his life with deep admiration, recalling his unwavering commitment as a husband, father, and grandfather. Despite navigating a career marked by its share of conflicts and challenges, his loved ones found his presence at home to be warm and uplifting. Sullivan, who shared an enduring marriage with his wife Sylvia, created a household rooted in love and mutual respect. Together, they raised their daughter Betty, who not only carried forward her father's legacy on The Ed Sullivan Show, but also embraced a fulfilling personal life. In moments away from work, Sullivan exhibited a profound dedication to his family. He made time for shared experiences, embedding values and affection within every interaction. His ability to balance such a high-profile and demanding career while maintaining his role as a devoted family man stands out as a testament to his character. To his grandchildren, he was more than just a television pioneer. He was a source of stories, bedrock of tradition, and symbol of kindness. His close relationships illuminated the other facets of his personality, away from the spotlight, where humility and compassion shaped his family ties. Even as tensions and controversies occasionally shadowed his public endeavors, these challenges seemed to melt away in the warmth of his familial connections. His family cherishes a legacy that expands beyond television acclaim, holding fast to the memories of a man who, at heart, prioritized the enduring love and welfare of his